Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be super exciting because we are in a completely different city than normal. We're not in Boca today. We're actually in the heart of Parkland, Florida. We're right in Pines Trails Park. What you see behind me is a very large playground area for kids. And today we're going to be discussing what is Parkland, Florida? Who is it great for? If you're coming from a city, could you actually live here? And stay tuned towards the end of the video because for one, I'm going to include a clip of an alligator walking through one of the local neighborhoods here in Parkland, Florida, and we're going to be doing some home tours so you know what could you get here in Parkland, Florida, what's your typical home, and what you're looking at price-wise here in Parkland. Alligators and snakes are in this water, guys, so even though this area was built out in the 60s, there's a lot of homes here that were recently built in the 90s, early 2000s, and until fairly recently, so these homes in here are relatively new. And what would make a person want to move to a place like this? Well, for one, if you like the suburbs and you want to be out away from the city, this is probably going to be one of your better spots in South Florida. So this entire area feels like a bubble. So if you have kids, now there's about 30% of the population in Parkland are children, people underneath 18 or years older. So about 30% of people who live in Parkland are below the age of 18. So 30% are children here. And what I saw just touring this place today was tons and tons of kids playing around in all the parks here. There's parks everywhere in Parkland with the 5 public schools that are mostly all A-rated schools. And if you have kids, this is a great spot to raise them in a nice bubble. Who is Parkland, Florida for? Is it for somebody who's coming from the city? Can you adapt to here? Well, Parkland is situated about 20 minutes away from central Boca area. So you can definitely go there if you need to do shopping or dining. It's about 15-20 minutes away from Coral Springs, its shopping area. If you need to go to Fort Lauderdale, that's about 25 minutes to 30 minutes if you want to, go out. So it's okay if you are okay with driving. Parkland's actually not that bad. I was expecting much more of a tough drive, but getting here wasn't bad. It's a lot of empty space getting here, but once you're here, you're surrounded by a lot of neighborhoods, greenery, peacefulness. So if you want to live in a peaceful area, you don't need to feel the energy of the city, this would be a good spot for you. The schools here are all A-rated. You can't go wrong. It's very desirable. But if you're looking for the energy that you would get from the city, like say if you're coming from New York, New Jersey, or just a more fast-paced area where you get energy from other people, pushing themselves and go fast-paced, gotta drive fast, stoplight to stoplight, this is not the area. In Boca, there's a lot of people who just hit the gas as hard as they can at every green light and race to the red light, and they're just go, 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 everything now. And this is very different. I mean, there's no major red lights here in Parkland. People, they use roundabouts and they share the road. They drive much slower here. Everything is way more chilled, relaxed, and a lot of things geared around the children. So I was driving around Parkland all day, and every major road, if you call it a major road, is just a school. And there's school zones everywhere here. So just take that in the back of your mind. You're going to be stuck in school zones during the school hours, and your commute time is going to vary greatly depending on these school zones because there's a school zone everywhere in Parkland because Parkland is basically a big park full of schools and gated communities. If I had to describe Parkland, it'll be that. Now, do I personally like Parkland? I could see myself living here, especially if I was just focused on raising my daughter and if beach life wasn't as important. I enjoy going to Red Reef Park a lot. It's one of the highlights of living down here in South Florida. Red Reef Park is very nice. This would just add more of a commute time. Would I be okay driving 45 minutes if I can get a bigger house? Probably. And that brings on to another part. If you're comparing Parkland to Boca Raton, Parkland is more expensive, and that got me by surprise. So Boca itself is very expensive and more expensive than a lot of other places in the United States. It's ranked, it got a score in the cost of living. Boca did for 127 out of 100, with 100 being the average cost of living in America. So it's about 27% more expensive to live there than the average place in the United States. But Parkland got a cost of living score of 154, and that's 27% higher than Boca. So your price of cost of living is going to go up if you move move here, and the majority of this is actually the cost of housing. So this is another thing that got me by surprise, because Boca on average is more expensive per square foot, but Boca has a lot more starter home options, cheaper options that you can start off in Boca and then move your way up to a much more expensive place. While Parkland, if you're looking for a single family house, most of the single family houses are going to start around $750,000, and this is for a much older home. So the barrier to entry in Parkland is much higher than Boca, but for what you get for your dollar is going to be better. So the houses here are much larger than you would get in Boca for the same amount of square feet. So these homes here in Parkland are probably right around, most of them around 800 to slightly above $1 million. But if this was in Boca Raton, you are talking about multiple millions of dollars to have a house that's almost 3,000 square feet. So you wouldn't get this in Boca for this price, and that is the draw here. What's more valuable, the day rate schools, you got them here, or the size of the house? And this is going to be a trade-off for a lot of people. And so when you're comparing the two cities, if you want a bigger home, you value more space, Parkland hands down beats Boca. You can't go wrong with Parkland if you just value schools and the space, because you value the size of your house. Parkland is way better. All the homes I've seen here just blew my mind, because I've been so used to seeing homes in Boca and other cities closer to the beaches. So Parkland just blew my mind, guys. I wasn't ready for the size of the house you get out here, but it's just the starting price of the homes are much higher out here than you would get into Boca. And let's talk about city size in general. If you like a larger city, Parkland is small. So it was right around 30,000, but after the pandemic and everything, it jumped up very quickly, or 36,000 residents here. And again, most of them are just people with kids moving in here. And this is a direct comparison to Boca. That already has above 95,000 people living there. So everything's way more spread out here in Parkland. You have a lot of green space. There's not that much traffic. So again, Boca to me did not have much traffic, but Parkland's a whole nother level. Again, they don't have any major red lights. So a lot of times your traffic areas are just your school zones here in Parkland. And also because, the pros and cons, because it's designed by zoning to be more of a park and green area and spread out. You don't have that much shopping that draws people to gather in certain areas. So everybody who wants to go shopping is going out of Parkland. So everything's kind of a little bit more excluded here in Parkland than it would be in other areas such as Boca or Fort Lauderdale. You don't have people coming from other cities to come to Parkland because there's nothing to do here. I mean, there's stuff for kids. They have parks and schools, but if somebody's like saying Coral Springs or Fort Lauderdale, nobody's driving to Parkland to just go travel and try the great restaurant here. Everybody's going out of Parkland to visit other places, and nobody's coming to Parkland besides coming home. Another thing about Parkland I thought was an interesting fact as well was the median household income. So if you're the type of person you like to compare yourself with your neighbors and keeping up with the Joneses, they call it, Parkland, the median household income is greatly larger than Boca. And this is another thing that got me by surprise. So the median household income here is $188,000 a year. Put that in perspective, the median household income for Boca, a well-off city, is only $89,000 a year, guys. So the people here in Parkland, they definitely value education, and that's going to drive up home values in the future, because a lot of times a lot of people put value on houses that have great school zones, and this is definitely going to help Parkland in the future. Now, if you're wondering, how does Parkland compare to like another suburb type place such as Weston? Well, stick around and subscribe, because that's definitely going to be a future video here on the channel. So as promised, here's the clip of the video of the alligator crossing the neighborhood in Parkland, because you know what, you're right here in the Everglades, you're right here on the swamp, and it's something you do have to think about. So these are my final thoughts here in Parkland. For one, you better be well off to be able to afford it, because the starting price here is way more expensive. The median income here is way more than a lot of places in South Florida. Two, you better like being around kids, because 30% of the population here is of children, and there's kids everywhere, a lot of family oriented type of environment. So you must like being around kids. If you're a person that doesn't want to hear a kid crying or screaming, Parkland's not for you. Three, if you value more space for your money while still being an amazing school district and a lot of great school zones, Parkland is for you. If commute times are more important, if you want to go to the beach within 10 minutes, Parkland may not be the best choice for you. For most people, they're going to be just fine choosing Boca or Parkland, because the only major difference is the amount of drive time between getting to the spots you're going to go to. If you're fine live in the suburbs. I know a lot of people are coming from places where they drive already over an hour to get to work. This is going to be nothing to drive 30-45 minutes to get to the beach, to get to nice restaurants. Downtown Boca Raton, or the town center in Boca, is very close for your shopping. It's only about 20-30 minute drive. So this is still very convenient. It's well placed, and it's good for people who are wondering, like, is my city going to become another condo filled area with high rises everywhere? Parkland is not even going to allow this. So I know there's a lot of concern in Boca right now with all the condos and building they're doing about the infrastructure. Is going to be enough room on the roads for everybody? But Parkland is so spread out, and they won't allow that. You won't have to worry about that. Another final thought is that Parkland is clean. So definitely I value that a lot. That's one thing I really got drawn to Boca, was the cleanliness of everything and how manicured it is. This neighborhood is just an average neighborhood here in Parkland, Florida. Everything's edge, like grass. If you care about yards, that's a nice edge here, and it's throughout the entire neighborhood. And this is what the neighborhoods are like on foot. Not much traffic through them. The only sound I do hear is a kid. Everywhere you go, you just hear a kid somewhere, because there's kids playing, there's parks everywhere, and that's it. There's not too much to Parkland. There's not much to see. If you drive in through Parkland, you may not see much. You might just see people driving through the major roads. I know there's this one channel, when I was first looking at Parkland, they just drove through the road. There's nothing to see, and that is true. If you don't live in one of these gated communities, there's nothing to see, because Parkland is just full of homes and parks. So if you like something like that, if you're just putting value on their space and being in a great school zone, this is definitely a great space for you. If you have any questions or concerns about moving here to South Florida in Boca or now Parkland, definitely reach out to me below. I would love to give you a virtual tour of any property you want, and hope to be able to put you in that home before summer. Other than that, take care. All right, you're looking to move to Parkland, Florida, and looking for one of the most affordable places here in a gated community and some of the best school districts in the entire state of Florida. Well, stick around. We have a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom right behind me, and we're going to take our first tour. As you can see already, we have a 3-car garage out here, so you can put all your vehicles, all your fun toys. Say if you have his and her car and your sports car, it can go easily right there. Coming in here, we have a grand entrance area right over here. Got these huge doors. We got open floor concept already in this house, and it has a lot of possibilities. So you have really good bones here. You can definitely do a lot of remodeling, open it up if you wanted to, but just take a look around. So entering the property, right off to the side here, we have the dining area. And if you like to entertain, well, guess what's behind me? We have a mini bar, wet bar area right over here, so you can serve your guests if you're all hanging out, watching the games, and easy access to the pool right behind me. If you're looking for high ceilings here in South Florida, this house definitely has some very high ceilings. Now, the master bedroom, as you can tell here, nice size sliding doors behind me. You have the ceiling that elevates up like a tray ceiling here. Nice lighting from all the windows, his and her closets. So you got plenty of space for all your clothes, your belongings, and a nice size bathroom over here. So one thing I always love about houses, and something that every house should have, is the toilet separate from the bathroom, so you can do your business without distracting the people around you or offending them. In this particular house, we have all new carpet throughout, so you don't have to worry about replacing somebody's dirty carpet. It's already been done here. If you love mirrors, we got tons of mirrors, so you can always make sure if your outfit works for the day. Look at that, we got a nice little sink right there. And one of the major plus of this house is if you have guests over, if they need to use the restroom, you don't want to share your bathroom with guests. It has a half bath right over here, so your guests can easily use the restroom. For the wash machine and dryer area, we have a nice little separate space. This humongous garage right over here. For the first guest bedroom, we have, again, nice size ceilings, carpets on the floor, dual closets in the first guest bedroom. For the second guest bedroom, we have a slightly smaller room. This particular one does not have its own closet, but it is of a decent size. And for the third guest bedroom, we have a much larger bedroom than the other one, again with its own closet. Now, those bedrooms are going to share this bathroom right over here, with 2 sinks located in here. So if you have 2 kids, they can easily share that, and a bathtub and shower that leads off into the pool area. So if you're done swimming, you need to clean up, this is a really easy way to come out of this pool and get cleaned up before you go through the rest of the house. Now for the kitchen is fairly decent size. You got tons of counter space over here, a lot of outlets so if you can charge phones, put your coffee machines, your KitchenAid, your blender, your toaster. You got outlets everywhere over here to charge all your products or plug in your products. You got plenty of cabinet space, nice size white cabinets so you can put all your food and supplies in here. Again, a lot of homes, sometimes you don't give you enough cabinet space, but this place definitely does have tons of cabinet space. Now you have a little breakfast area over here so you can put a nice size breakfast table with nice size windows to look at the pool, the nice lush tropical landscape. This is the living room area, so a lot of possibilities with this area with tons of natural light from these windows on the corner here. Now coming along, as you exit the back of the house, you're entered by probably the biggest highlight of this house is going to be this pool space. If you want to have your kids play in the pool with ample area for seating, it's screened in, you're not going to have any alligators or snakes coming into your property. This would be a great place for your kids to grow up and have a nice sized pool. It's not too big, so it's going to be easier to maintain than the larger size pools for sure. And this screen will definitely keep out a lot of these leaves that are going to be falling from these trees, so it's going to be less work on you as well to keep up with this pool. This is a really nice size pool out here, guys, and in a day like this, it's December, but you could easily jump in here and enjoy the nice sunlight that we're finally getting in here in South Florida. If you'd like to know any more information about this property that we're touring today, please reach out to me. Here's my contact information below. Would love to submit an offer for you if you're planning on relocating you and your family. You're looking for a house in Parkland. Again, this house is one of the most affordable 4 bedrooms here in Parkland, priced below $900,000 for a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's going to be very hard to beat because it has a pool and a gate with a guard that actually calls the homeowner to make sure you're supposed to be here or not. So if you want to know more information or looking to move here in Parkland, please reach out. We'd love to represent you in your purchase of this property. All right, so just for a portion of this video, I'm going to include a clip right here on this portion, just of me driving from a house to this park right here. My phone actually died, so it got cut off, but it does take you all the way through the main areas of Parkland. So you actually get to see how empty Parkland is. You're not going to see any type of shopping center. Most things are just basically neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood and schools. This is pretty much all you get in Parkland. As I mentioned, there's one Starbucks and a little bit of shopping options. There's a Publix.